Previously, my project has illustrated how can we utilize existing compact buildings to release land scarcity in the city.
My previous approach on democracy was towards thinking about creating a transparent parliament building in which promotes engagement among the people.
On the basis of that, a series of prominent architects' visions have provoked us to consider the significant connection between urban design and democracy, prompting us to combine our concepts and question how can democracy be applied in urban scale in terms of architecture. Hong Kong has been chosen as a prototype due to its special historical background and highly relevant political status. China has guaranteed Hong Kong the authority to self-govern in terms of economic and political systems for 50 years after the transfer from the British, which means in 2047, Hong Kong will lose its autonomous power and governed entirely under the Chinese Communist Party. In 2019, the extradition bill completely triggered the anger among the opposing parties who want to fight for their democratic identity and ignited a large amount of demonstrations. As a result, both Hong Kong City and mainland have been badly affected in terms of economy, criminal rate, etc. Hong Kong has always been pivotal in building the economy of China due to it being an international financial hub, commercial hub, and having a world-class port, hence serving as the only gateway for China to the international market. Till 2040, this immense impact of the unsettlement has caused Hong Kong to slowly crumble apart. Hong Kong used to be considered as a different entity from China. However, the Chinese government doesn't want to put the opposing parties in exile and to create a smaller Hong Kong. Therefore, to fulfill the demands of the protesters and resolve the ongoing chaos in the city, the Chinese government has proposed a levitated community concept that allows them to live in harmony as an entirety by allowing them to utilize the space in the sky and to retain their ideology and lifestyle. In Hong Kong, there are some housing called ghost apartments, which are considered undesirable for living in Hong Kong as it means properties who were previously inhabited by people who died of unnatural causes, such as murder and suicide. Along with the rising social problems, a substantial increase in ghost apartments has plagued most parts of the city. The government agreed to sell these apartments primarily as entry and connection points between the city below and above to the people who want to move into the levitated community at the minimum rate. To build a city above the sky, logistics and the sourcing of materials pose as a major problem. Then, the construction waste has become a major consideration, as currently there are an abundance of waste materials composed of 95% public fuel, includes debris, rubber, earth, and concrete sitting in the landfills over the city.
At the same time, in order to provide freedom and democracy for dwellers to design and build their own space, 3D printing technology has been applied in the community as a main method. 3D printing facilities are placed above roof of existing buildings, serving also as an intersecting point for bridges converging from different directions and different levels. For construction, waste materials are recycled from the landfill facilities and be first sorted out to determine which is able to be used for 3D printing. After that, another round of sorting is done to differentiate the different typologies of materials. The sorted materials are then transported to the 3D printing facilities. Synthetic building materials are printed atop the levitated city based on the freedom of design by the community above. Printed materials are transported and built by the robotic arms attached along the bridge. Other than acting as a material producing infrastructure, the 3D printing facility also acts as an intersecting point where people gather and maybe hold activities and events. It is also a point of vertical circulation through a spiral staircase wrapped around the tube of the 3D printing facility. The robotic arms are retractable and able to spin around to achieve complex movements for all activities. Being in a levitated city, water and energy is essential for it to self-sustain. Most of Hong Kong's water supply comes from Dongjiang Water Station. Due to climate change, the water supply of the reservoir is slowly drying up. Along with an overwhelming demand for water, there is a dire need to gather water elsewhere for the city up in the sky. Being on top of the sky, the only way to collect water is through rain. By using a rainwater harvesting system, water will be collected through a catchment area and stored in a tank. After going through a process of filtration and sanitation, water will be distributed among households and shops through a pump, whereas water will be flowed down through gravitational pull whenever the city below faces a water shortage. For power, wind energy is used due to its high altitude, which is optimum to install wind turbines in addition to its need for high power usage to run the 3D printing facilities. These wind turbines are installed on bridges that are not parallel to any facade of a building to avoid disturbing residents who are already inhabiting the area. An entire system then has been built up in the sky to operate the community above. Structurally, long-span bridges are supported by steel trusses and a skeletal structure-like column with bracings to support the bridges against lateral forces. Each of these columns will be placed on the rooftop of a building and is also a connection between two bridges of different levels that intersect. As for bridges that do not go over rooftops, horizontal beams spanning from the facades of the adjacent building will act as the main structure. To provide privacy for the residents of the existing buildings, a 10 to 15 meter gap is kept between the parallel bridge and building. As people start to integrate into this levitated community in 24/7, people of two different parties are able to coexist despite their different political beliefs, building respect among them.